Let's learn how to do the Picot bind off for the rib vault shawl. This is what the bound off edge looks like for the rib vault shawl. It begins with a knit 3 together, and then you're doing a knit 2 together bind off. Really simple for the beginning. And then the Picot clusters start here. After you do that easy bind off 28 times, the knit 2 together through the back loop, simple bind off, then you begin the Picot pattern repeat about right here. And you have a small picot, and the picots get bigger, and then they get smaller, to go big to small, to echo the waves of the shawl. So I am working a swatch. I'm going to show you the Picot pattern repeat. So this is after you do your knit 2 together through the back loop, slip stitch, place the stitch onto left needle 28 times. Now Picot pattern repeat. Knit 2 together through the back loop, place stitch onto left needle 4 times. Knit 2 together through the back, place stitch onto left needle. That was the first time. 2 together through the back, 2 together through the back, place the stitch onto left needle, and 2 together through the back. That was 4 total times. Cast on 3 stitches using the cable cast on method. Insert the right needle between these 2 stitches, pull the yarn through, place it on the needle. That was number 1. If you hold your yarn in your right hand, pull the yarn through, place it on the left needle. That was cast on stitch number 2 and 3. Now, knit 2 together through the back loop, place stitch onto left needle 7 times. 2 together through the back, and place the stitch on the left needle. That was once, and 2, and 3. And now we're going to bind off more stitches. We need to do it 7 total times. 4, 5, 6, and 7. 2 together through the back, and you finish by placing it on the left needle. That was the 7th time. So what you get is a little 3-stitch Picot cluster right there, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 bound off stitches after it. So you added 3, and then you bound off 3, those 3, plus the next 4 stitches for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total stitches. Now go to the next line, cast on 5 stitches using the cable cast on method. Same cast on, we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4. Whenever I'm pulling that yarn through, I'm not doing it very tight. Do you see how that's a little bit of a big stitch? It's kind of loose. That makes it easier for you to go in the next time. And there's the 5th stitch. So that was our original stitch, and then these were the 5 that we added. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So always remember that if it says to cast on 5, you need the 5 new stitches, but they're next to the original stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit 2 together through the back loop, place stitch onto left needle 9 times. Knit 2 together through the back. Place it on the left needle once, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9. Place it on the left needle. So that was 9 total times. We added 5, making a longer picot, and then you bound off those 5 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 more. 9 total bound off stitches. We're getting longer picots. Let's keep going. Cast on 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3. It really helps to make those stitches nice and loose. 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're getting more cast-on stitches. That's what's going to make the longer picots. Now knit 2 together through the back loop. Place stitch onto left needle 11 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we added 7, we bound off the 7, and another 4 stitches for 11 total bound off. Now it's getting longer. We're going to do one more that's the longest at the center of our wave. Cast on 9 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Make sure you do those a little bit loose. That makes it easier for you. If you're a tighter knitter, then just purposefully pull through a little bit of extra yarn when you cast on those stitches. Knit 2 together through the back loop. Place stitch onto left needle 13 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So those are all bound off. That was 9. We need 13 total times. 10, 11, 12, and 13. Look at that. That's our longest picot. So much fun. They're getting longer and longer. It looks really exaggerating because I'm showing you with a thicker DK weight yarn. It's going to look a little more subtle with your fingering weight, but I just love that decorative little pointy finish. So keep on following the Picot pattern repeat. Next, you're going to cast on 7 stitches and then bind off 11, cast on 5, bind off 9, cast on 3, bind off 7. And then that's going to decorate the little wave. So keep on following the pattern repeat closely. And this is what it looks like on the waves of the shawl. And then a trick for you to help visualize, to help keep you on track. If you can look closely at the wave, there's one line in the center of the shawl, in the center of each wave, right here. Do you see how this twisted rib column is uninterrupted? It goes all the way from the beginning, and it's at the center of the wave. Do you see these other columns as you follow them? Ooh, it goes off to the side. Where does this one go? Oh, yeah, that one goes way off to the side. if you follow that center one, this is the center one going all the way straight towards the center of each wave. To the right, or sorry, to the left of that twisted column in the center is where you do the longest picot. So that's a good way to keep on track as you're binding off. If you're miscounting or doing one too many, one too few of the bind offs, when you're ready to do the cast on 9 stitches, it should be to the left of this center twisted stitch. Do you see how it's the center one? Right here is the center twisted stitch. So that's something to help you visualize that if you're starting that big long cast on 9 stitch, that cast on 9 stitch picot somewhere over here, if you trace that down, oops, look, that came from here. That's not going all the way to the base. So look at your twisted rib columns, and if you're doing it later or too soon, then just shift it, okay? It's okay if your picots just for one picot, if they're really close together. So if you have to make some of your own adjustments to just do 1 or 2 bind off stitches before doing the next picot, you can adjust it for yourself, but try to get that longest center picot right in the center of each wave. I think you're really going to need to check later on as you do the shawl. When you get more relaxed, maybe you miscount or something, your bind off stitches. Just do a check. Here's that center twisted stitch. And make sure the cast on of 9 stitches happens to the left of that center stitch right there. I love the picot. You can apply that to any shawl and just make an extra special picot to any shawl project. I love this picot bind off because you can add it to any shawl pattern. So if you have a pattern that has an I-cord bind off, then you could do a picot bind off instead. And you can space them out however far apart you want. So if you bind off like 8 stitches between your picots, you could have the picots spaced further apart, or you could place the picots really close together. So it's really customizable, and once you get comfortable with the technique, you can exaggerate and elongate those picot points and make them as long as you want. It just finishes your shawl with a flourish, especially when you block and pin those points out at the end of your project. So give it a try and add a picot to the tips of your finished shawls.